back to Dubsy Bricks for another episode of Building Gotham City in Lego. Last week we worked on the courthouse and we're going to be carrying on doing so this week. I want to try and get all of this section down here all tiled off and looking tidy, get the door frames finished and make some doors to go inside. On the top section here, a couple of people made comments last week saying they thought windows would look better in here to break it up, and another person said they liked the masonry bricks inside, and I'm going to be experimenting with this section just here and see if we can get the right look for that section. I would like to amend this section just here as well, possibly put some writing in here, but again I'm just going to experiment with that part. But the most important thing I want to work on is the roof section, as well as possibly putting a tower on here with a clock in. So that's the plans. Let's just see how much we can get done. Just looking at the different options with this building here, and I am considering changing this lower section up once more. Not destroying what I've already built here, but making it that much taller. So I'm going to carry on the brickwork just around here using the masonry bricks, and then along here I'm going to have some windows in and then extend these pillars up. I'll then put the roof section back on top of it and then have the next floor on top of that. The reason for this is going to add another 6 or 7 bricks in height to the building, giving it that grander look. And a lot of images I've seen have shown these pillars to be a lot taller, and I just think it might give that little bit more detail and character to the build. Also on these pillars here, I want to put some snot bricks and then have some little details coming out of there just to give it that a little bit extra. So let's build that up, see what it looks like. If it doesn't look any good, it's no problem. We can just knock it back down to how it is now and then just carry on with the original plan. And this is what it would look like with an extra 5 or 6 bricks added to the bottom floor here. And I do like the height of these pillars being this high and having those arches underneath here and above the door. I do again think that works really well. Now whether or not I shrink the door size, I'm not sure. A minifigure against those doors, they do look massive, but yeah, I think I could possibly lose 1 brick there, so there's an extra row of bricks along below the windows but above the door. So that's something I might experiment with. Now on the side here I've just put masonry bricks, but I would like to put a lot of detail in there, some greebling of some description. With the pillars here, I couldn't find any more of these ribbed effect circular pieces, so I put some masonry bricks in just down the bottom for the time being, and I might change it up further down the line. But as I mentioned just a moment ago, I would like to add some details to the top. So again, that is something I need to be experimenting with, but whether or not I've got the bricks I need to do the design I want to do, I'm not sure. But it is something I can just mock one up, see how it looks, and if it looks right, then I can order in the pieces, and it's very easy to replace that section afterwards. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to work out how to do this as a more permanent look, and then once I've done so, we'll concentrate on the window sections just above here. And a little bit more tweaking to the front wall here. Put some arches in the actual door frame themselves and also above the actual doors as well. And I'm liking the arches above here, however I'm not convinced on the ones on the actual door frame, so I think I'm going to go back to how it was before, and I can then utilise the snot bricks and actually have a door frame on there that sticks out just a little bit. On the top of the pillars here, I've been experimenting with different designs for how I want the top of the pillars to look. It will look totally different once the actual roof section is on there, but at the moment I'm feeling that this is possibly the better option out of the 4 of them, and I could replace that jumper plate there with a circular jumper plate, which again I think will make it look just a little bit tidier. So I'm just going to change those door frames back, make all the pillars look the same as this one if I can find enough of these slope parts here, and then I'll check back in and show you what it looks like. And the front is coming on nicely now, and I'm having to rebuild this section just here. It wasn't lining up properly, this pillar with the wall at the back. I couldn't get it into the right place, and I was half a stud out. And I was hoping on the bottom of a plate you've got these circle bits here, and I was hoping it was going to fit in one of those, but it wasn't. It was actually the part in between the 2 circles basically. So I've had to make this an extra stud wider, and that's then enabling it to all fit in place. And this is actually on jumper plates at the back just along here. So if I peel this off, as you see, there's jumper plates there and tiles, and then that's enabling everything to now line up perfectly. Now that I've done that, I can rebuild the triangle bit that goes on the front here, the wall, and then I have to rebuild the actual roof section as well, the tile part, as again it's 1 stud wider now. But hopefully that won't be too big a job. What I need to do then is then tile off this section just around here, put some modified plates on to help the next floor clip into place and put that part of the building back on there, and I can finally start work on that front section of the first floor. And here is the revised courthouse with the new pillars at the front there. Small details above the doors and the door frames on there as well. Just need to make the actual doors and do the interior. What I'm going to concentrate on doing now are these sections just here. Going to try and put the windows in and see how they come out. And that's the windows added to the front of the building. And as you can see, I've also tiled this off using the dark bluish grey. So next up, I'm going to make the roof section, which will sit on top of this. And then on top of the roof section will be the tower with the actual clock itself on there. And there is the tower or the start of the tower on the top of the courthouse here. Now, I'm not sure how much further to go up before putting the clock if I go down the clock route. One other option is something that somebody mentioned in the comments last week, which is doing a statue of somebody holding the scales of justice. And again, I think that would look really good on this build. Whether or not I have the statue in front of the clock tower there, or whether I have it on top of there instead of the clock, I'm not sure yet. So I've never made a statue of a person before, so it's something I'm going to look into hopefully this week and see if it is something I feel I can build and do justice on this building. The next thing I'm going to do is move the building on the base plate here. I want to start tiling the steps, and at the moment, the way I'm going to be doing it, I'm going to be overlapping here, and I don't want to do that. Last week, I did say that I was going to have this as a building that was just on its own plate, not on a mill's plate, and then I could actually place it on the city at an angle. However, for the time being, I am going to go back to keeping it on the mill's plate, and I'm going to move it back by at least 2 studs and also move it over that way by probably about 4 or 5 studs, so it's more central on the base plate. Luckily enough, the way that I've built this on the mill's plate, I should be able to peel the base plate off and then just move it across and then redo the sides on there. And that's the building all moved on the base plate, so it's now more central. There are 2 studs more on one side than the other. However, it was going to be too much work involved to move it exactly central on there. Where it's located, getting it located in the city, is not going to make any difference at all having the extra stud there. But anyway, now that we've got that moved, I can carry on with the tiling. And a couple of amendments to the tower on the top of the building, but still not happy with it. So I think I'm going to scrap that entire design there, start again and see if we can come up with something that looks a little bit better. On the bottom here, I did try the dark tan tiles. However, once again, they just don't look right. But I'm going to put it over to the light bluish grey and see how that looks and hope that there's not too much on there. I could potentially put some different colours on the floor with the light bluish grey, like sand blue or something like that if needs be. But we'll change it over to the light bluish grey to start with and see how that looks. And that's the tiles changed over to the light bluish grey and the dark bluish grey line just around here. That's as far as I can go with the tiles I've got. I need a load more of the 1x2 tiles. And although it does blend in with the build a little bit, I do think that it is a lot better than going for the dark tan. And once I put some benches along the pavement area and some trees, I think it's going to start to bring the colour into the build, which is lost with all of the grey bricks and tiles and plates. So all in all, happy to leave that as it is. Next up, let's work on the top tower here and see what we can come up with. And just checking in one final time for this update, and here is the revised tower. I'm much happier with this look than the previous one. I feel like it's much more in keeping with the design of the rest of the building here. And although from some angles it looks no different than last week, obviously there is a big change in this bit just here, and especially underneath the roof section just there. It'll be nice to start working on the interior somewhere soon. And I'll need to work out what I'm going to be putting on top of this tower, whether or not I have the clock on here, or if I do a statue of somebody holding the scales of justice. I might experiment with this statue, see what I can come up with. If it looks good, then that may be the way forward. If I can do something that I can do both and have somebody holding the scales just here and a clock behind, I might do that. But I don't want to make it look over the top, so it needs to look good. But yeah, really happy with the progress managed to get done this week. I was hoping I'd be working on the interior, however, I haven't had a chance to do so. And at least now I know what I need to order in tile-wise to go down here. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the update. If you have, please give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you know anybody else you think will be interested in building Gotham or building Mandalore, if you could share the channel with them, it'd be much appreciated. Anyway, thanks for popping by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.